Oh, this is miserable. I'm just doing the ties. Oh, I've got to get as much done as I can because as soon as I break in the weather, I've got to finish off the concrete.
Hi, we're Ian and Julie. Follow us on our tiny homestead and our debt-free project of a lifetime, the building of our shipping container home here in the Pyrenees, and all of this alongside our full-time jobs.
Well, I think the tarpaulin worked. As you know, it's been raining for the last week or so, torrential rain. And we duly dried all this out, as you saw, and then we put this huge tarpaulin over. And this morning when we came, loads of water all over it, but it was pooling in all of these, the grid work. So we managed to lift it up slightly, get our pump, and we pumped most of it off. We just got a little tiny bit to do, but that allowed me to get all this taping done, because this is the first dry day we've had for ages, and it's supposed to rain again on Monday, the day before our rescheduled concrete pour. So we've got these 2 cement trucks turning up in the afternoon because that's the only time they can do it. So we're gonna have a lot of spotlights at night trying to get it all finished off. But I've got all my pipe work done now, which is the if we have an external sink. So I've put that in place. And we're just going around tidying everything up, adding little bits of rebar where we think we need it. But I think the amount of time we've had waiting for this concrete, I don't want to overthink it. So I've had a lot of sleepless nights so far. So I'm just going to finish off this taping, and then we're going to put the tarpaulin back on, secure it properly, ready for Tuesday. So with one concrete day already cancelled, it gave us time to prepare as much as we could do. So double checking everything and tidying up the site. So even though it's rained here, the tarpaulin we put over it is catching the water, and what we're doing is just puddling it into one area and using our electric pump to get rid of it. But here we're just trying to clear the site as best as possible. So we've got plenty of room for all the paraphernalia that come with concrete days. So the bull float, the power trowel, the screeder, all of that stuff's got to be put somewhere. So we're getting rid of all the cement mixer and all the blocks, the water. We're going to fill the water up in readiness, so we've got plenty for all the cleaning, etc. So fingers crossed. This was our spare day for the concrete pour. Luckily, we managed to change it for tomorrow. So as soon as this downpour finishes, we're going to try and pump up as much as this we can. And then we'll be here tomorrow morning, preparing it, painting oil and diesel on the planks, and getting ready for the 1:30 arrival of 2 concrete trucks. Oh, it's been going on too long, this. That was a bit easier than we thought. It just went plonk, plonk. Dry stuff at the bottom. The horrible nasty bit was on the bottom now. So there you go, Tyson. All yours, mate.
He said, oh, if only I got longer legs, Mum.
Oh. Yeah.
Are you happy now? A little token ready for Christmas.
Right, it's really disappointing that we've had to cancel the second concrete day. Everything was ready. The first one, we sort of knew that it was going to be cancelled because we could see the weather forecast. So we did that in advance. So we had a few extra days to get the site ready. This time, as you saw, everything is ready. It's under the tarpaulin, but it's just raining and raining. So we've booked it for next week. This weekend's not very nice, so we're going to keep that tarpaulin on. Tuesday looks to be really good, and we booked Wednesday as a spare day. Not just the concrete we've got to cancel, we have to cancel the rental equipment, so the power trowel and the screeder. But Julie's got a good relationship. Yeah.
The ladies, they're totally understanding, so they just said, look, book as many days, and whichever day ends up being the date, we just cancel the rest.
But in the meantime, we've got, just want to address a few comments that we've had over the last couple of videos. Why did we go and collect all the gravel ourselves? Yeah. And why didn't we just have a big 30-ton truck come and deliver it in one go?
Yeah, well, I went over to our local quarry and asked the guy about delivery. He came over to view the site and he was quite concerned that 30 tonne of gravel plus the lorry coming down our drive. It's not a steep drive, but it's not a made-up drive properly yet. It doesn't have a hard surface.
Yeah, he was just worried that it might
get stuck and sink.
But secondly, 30 tonne of gravel is a huge mound of gravel.
It is now, we know how big it is.
So doing it 1 tonne at a time, or actually about 1.2 tonne at a time with Julie and the tipper truck, that allowed me time to disperse that gravel all over the site with the tractor. So we managed to dump it, disperse it, and use the whacker plate to tamper it down before Julie came back with the next load. So it really worked. Even though it took all day and it was very, very tiring, I think we managed to move that amount of gravel more quickly than just having 30 tonne delivered. Secondly, the cost of it. Now, we had the estimate for 30 tonne delivered to site, and that was €940. And that was for one type. Remember, we had a couple of types. We had the 2040 gravel and the 020 gravel. So we could pick and choose what we had at the right time. Doing it ourselves, including the rental truck and the fuel and the washing.
We had to wash the truck after.
All of that came to, and that was for 29 tonnes. So 1 tonne less, that came to €520. So €420 saving. So
that was a massive amount.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer, really.
Yeah.
Second question was, why didn't we use the mini digger to disperse the gravel instead of the tractor? And the mini digger is great, and I love it, but it's not exactly fast. The tractor's got a much bigger bucket on the front, and I can just move around faster.
It worked really well using the tractor, actually.
Yeah, the mini digger, it does have the little blade on the front, but pushing that around, I'd have been probably making more mess with my tracks turning and going left and right.
It churns a bit.
Yeah, than the tractor. So that was the main reason. But we will be using the mini digger to disperse all the gravel for the drainage. Because
I'm not throwing that over the wall like I was earlier.
We have to. We'll be lifting that over the wall, and having the smaller bucket is actually a benefit, because I don't want to dump over, a quarter of tonne of gravel at a time over onto plastic tubing. So the mini digger you'll be seeing quite a lot of.
Little Blue will be coming back to site. Another question that kept coming up quite regularly was, why did we need such a thick concrete slab for this garage?
It started from the specification by the garage fabricator. I put the design into the factory, and it's a steel framed garage. And they came back with the drawings and stated 30 centimetre slab. Now
We didn't
this,
question it, did we? To
well,
start with.
it was a lot, but yeah, we had no idea. They basically put up the big box buildings, you know, these huge buildings, or garages or anything else, big garages, I mean, on
Huge.
commercial things. So 30 centimetre slab for them is not unusual. And I think they just carried that over to our small domestic design. And when I questioned it, they said, oh, this is what we normally have for, so it allows the bolts to go in and there's no blowout. But when I came to get the estimate for the concrete, it was around 21 cubic meters, 3 trucks, because the trucks here are around 7 to 8 cubic meters at a time, 3 trucks. And the cost was quite a lot.
They even questioned why we needed so much
Yeah.
for the size of slab.
And Julie's dad's an ex-carpenter, been on sites for 55 years doing this stuff. And he said 150 is near enough over the top. 6 inches is a norm. So I went back to the garage fabricator. They said, no, 30 centimeters. So in the end, we sort of compromised, and the outside section at the back of the garage, that's going to be 6 inches. And we built that up with the gravel, as you saw. And then the deeper section is, we're doing it at 20 centimeters. And the reasoning behind not going 150 all over is because we'd already built this retaining wall. And
We were already deeply invested
Yeah.
in the original specification.
so the distance between the top of the slab and the top of the wall has to be 150 centimeters. So I either have to build up the base with gravel or concrete to get that 150. I can't knock the top off the wall. So in the end, 20 centimeters, as you saw, and then we put in the post holes at 30 centimeters. So that was the compromise. It's still a lot of concrete. So next week we've got 2 trucks coming with 14 cubic meters, but a saving of 7 cubic meters just because I'm not doing the 30 centimeter.
And that is a huge cost saving.
Yeah, we had a bit more gravel, so 520 euros worth of gravel, but it's probably saved us over 1,200 euros in concrete. So lastly is, why are we building this garage first? And that mainly comes from all our neighbours, because they assumed the size of this is our house.
Yeah, we've done a self-build many years ago back in England when we lived there, and when we came here to France we bought an old farmhouse and we totally renovated that ourselves. And the biggest regret with both of those projects, we never had a dedicated work area. We always
So-
seem to follow ourselves round.
So you're constantly tidying up the room you're in to make sure you're
Not
working on the
efficient
next room.
working.
So we stated that the next build we do, we will have a workshop.
Yeah.
So we don't mess up the actual where we're building, so in the house itself. Secondly, we don't live on site at the moment. So we need somewhere to put all our supplies and our buildings securely. So every time we come here, as you've seen, and we've mentioned it before, we have to prepare the site, so offload the minibus of all our tools, take off all the tarpaulins. It takes about half an hour, and then half an hour in the afternoon or the evening when we're tidying up. So to have a dedicated workshop garage, even though we probably won't be using it as a garage, it will be a storage facility, is perfect. We're going to build it anyway, so we're building this first in readiness for the house.
And we are totally off-grid here. We have no means of electricity. The only water we have is with the
IBC at the
IBC
back.
unit behind us. Doing the garage first allows us to put some solar panels
That's-
on the roof.
That's a third reason, yeah.
Yeah.
So once we've built the garage, we'll have solar on this,
Yeah.
and that will then supply the electricity for the house build. Water, we're umming and ahhing at the moment whether we get it connected sooner than later. In France, you have to have water connected if it's available, so that's by law. So that's the only off-grid thing we won't have is water. But that's fine because it's cheap. Water in the Pyrenees is cheap as anything, so.
Plenty of it. It stopped us doing our concrete.
Yeah, exactly.
I shouldn't joke. It's the last weekend before Christmas, this time next week. So for myself and Ian, here in the French Pyrenees, however you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas.
Yep, Bon Noel.
Bon Noel.
And we'll see you in the next video, which will be Concrete Day. So please hit that notification so you know exactly when it's coming out, probably the day after Christmas. And hit the subscribe if you haven't already, because there's lots more to come. And we will see you
This time after Christmas. And once again, Merry Christmas, everyone. And thank you so much for supporting our channel and sending us little comments. It keeps us on our toes and makes us think about things.
See you later.